Our research area was shelter. Within that, we decided to look into eco-roofing, the benefits of this method, and why this is the future for roofing. Looking at the implications of current roofing methods, it was brought to our attention the unutilized space above our heads you wouldn't usually think about. Eco-roofs. They can be small scale and domestic, pitched or flat, planted with herbs, seeds and wildflowers. They can be large and extensive, turfed with grasses for recreation, or soil for gardens, or as high-level urban parkland. As Bristol is the green city of the UK, we're left wondering why we aren't seeing more of these in our city. A green roof or living roof is a roof of a building that is partially or completely covered with vegetation or a growing medium planted over a waterproof membrane. It may also include additional layers such as root barrier and drainage and irrigation systems. We have sent off a Freedom of Information request to the local city council to find out about the amount of flat roofs we have in Bristol and the number of addresses that could easily utilise an eco-roof to improve our city's green status. Unfortunately, these requests can take a while, so in the meantime we've been in contact with green and eco-roof specialist Simon James Lewis. He explained that the current roofing design speculations are considering only the thermal and vapour when trying to predict how the building will perform when damp occurs. Improvised loft insulation and glazing makes walls the coldest surface in the room, increasing risk of condensation. External insulation is costly, complex, unsympathetic, and retrofitting leaves cold spots internally. We spoke to graduate engineering consultant James Hallam, who designs the heating systems on each property at Service Design Solutions in Bristol. He told us about the U values. U values measure how effective a material is as an insulator. The lower the U value is, the better the material is as a heat insulator. The soil in a green roof does offer some insulation value, but is ignored in U value calculations because the insulation value of the soil varies with the water content. That is the main reason why we aren't seeing more eco-roofs. Simple building legislation. According to the Wildlife Trust, the UK spends more money on air conditioning in the summer than on heating in the winter, and many UK firms have turned to green roofs as a way of cutting their energy bills. The green roofs at Canary Wharf alone have reported saving 26,000 kilowatts per year. With buildings responsible for about 50% of the UK's CO2 emissions, green roofs could make a real contribution to the battle against climate change. There are mostly 6 different types of tiles currently being used in the roofing industry. Metal tiles, concrete tiles, flexible tiles made out of rubber and concrete composite, ceramic tiles, polymer sand tiles, and solar panel tiles. After speaking to a couple of roofers currently working in the Bristol area, we asked about the cost of each tiles in comparison to eco-roofs. They told us that the cost of a concrete tiled roof, on average, runs between £4.50 and £9 per square foot for standard grade tiles. One of the main issues we found with concrete tiles was the CO2 used to produce them, plus their weight adds to the emissions due to transportation. They are one of the least energy efficient options, yet the most popular. A case study from Bologna, Italy suggests if all suitable flat roof space was used for urban agriculture, rooftop gardens in the city could supply around 12,500 tonnes of vegetables a year, whilst also providing a range of ecosystem services. This means that, based on actual consumption data for the city, rooftop gardens could meet 77% of residents' need for vegetables. If all the spaces identified in the study were turned into gardens, they could capture an estimated 624 tonnes of CO2 each year. The study also mapped the connections between the spaces that were within 500 metres of each other, showing that rooftop gardens could create a network with a total length of 94 kilometres of green corridors for wildlife, including pollinating insects. The 500-metre distance was considered appropriate by the researchers because most common bee pollinators have a flight foraging distance of 750 to 1,500 metres. This would also increase the bee population in the local area. But why only start with the roofs? Any vertical surface can be transformed into a living wall of plants. They can disguise eyesores, reinvent urban wastelands, enhance cityscapes, and add stunning visual impact to any public space. In 2012, the World Health Organization cited depression as the leading cause of disability worldwide. A study of 1,000 people conducted by the University of Exeter showed a direct correlation between exposure to greener spaces and positive mental health in built-up areas. The 2050 Paris City Smart project was commissioned by Paris' City Hall as it looks at ways to reduce the capital's greenhouse gas emissions by 75% by 2050. With input from engineering firm Sector Balmente, Vincente Chalabot envisions great residential towers featuring photovoltaic and thermal shields producing electricity and heating water. Rainwater will be collected for reversible hydroelectrical pumps for generating power cleanly. It's a drastic overhaul of the city, and one that is unlikely to ever approach reality, at least in our lifetimes. But with the designs also supporting increased population numbers, such designs will increasingly have to be taken into consideration by future city planners.